Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the final mission from Halo Combat Evolved, the Maw, on the next episode. This episode, we're debriefing keys from Halo Combat Evolved. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That's right. So, last mission, the little floaty metal ball that we had been following around the library turned out to be evil. So we had to disable the Halo ring before he was able to fire it and destroy all sentient life within a 25,000 light year radius.
What a jerk.
There was also some confusing dialogue about the Halo being used in the past. I don't know, we talked about that a little bit too. This mission, Cortana teleports us onto the Truth of Reconciliation in order to find Captain Keyes and obtain the access codes needed to blow the Pillar of Autumn's reactor and destroy the Halo. Meanwhile, the Flood and Covenant are duking it out as both factions are trying to get off Installation 04 in order to fulfill their unique definitions of domination. Date in the game is the 21st of September, 2552. So we have a little comedic intro to this one where we're teleported upside down, which is always fun. Cortana's pretty much chatting with us the whole way here. We get transported back. This is kind of where we start to realize that, well, more so that Bungie is starting to reuse assets, right? Because they're, we're playing missions backwards or the same environments.
They explained it away, right? Because when we went on the Truth and Reconciliation the first time, Cortana's like, I disabled the ship. And then this time they're like, they were trying to repair the ship in order to get it off-world, but because Cortana disabled it, the Flood got there first, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this mission, to me, is more horror also. I felt like the music was grim, and it's dark and dank, and you're in the swamp for a while. And
there's green stuff.
There's green stuff, and then there's Flood all over the place again. This was almost more of a horror mission for me than the Flood.
It's a good mission, though. I really like it.
I noticed while playing through that, like, it has, like, the heartbeat noises in the background. Like, very subtly, but it's like the boom, 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 boom in the background. Boom, which I think really adds to that ambiance.
The ambience.
Also, you literally you teleport right in front of Keyes. You see him. You're like, hey, how's it going, man? Can I just break through this wall?
Until the latest time.
I didn't catch that this time either. So
yeah, when you teleport in, if you look right, you can look through the window and see him.
Yeah. It's right as he starts talking to you, you see the bridge. Mm-hmm. You're teleported right outside the bridge.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to go take a spin around next time. I need to do that.
It was harder to catch in the first, like in the original graphics, because there was more of a grid on the window, but in this one, the window's basically just glass. Sure. With maybe a little that Covenant honeycomb in it. But you can clearly see the bridge and Floody Keys.
That sweet, sweet Covenant honeycomb.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, we proceed through this area. Oh, so you hear Keyes, essentially. He says, "Chief, don't be a fool, leave me." And you don't really know what that means, but you kind of assume, I think, at this point that Keyes was taken. I mean, you saw in the helmet cam, right? He was attacked.
If you were able to actually see him, you can see him in the room, and you know that there's no coming back from what he is.
Okay. So you can see that right away.
You can see that straight away, yeah. Gotcha. But I think we'll probably talk about it later, but the fact that he's still talking to you as himself in his current state is extremely impressive.
Hell yeah.
And that becomes obvious later on, and with the terminal and stuff. It's this terminal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is his one? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a good terminal.
Oh, it's so good.
There are no skulls in this mission, so don't worry about looking for those. but there is that friendly terminal, which is towards the end of the mission, which we'll talk about later. So yeah, we proceed through a little ways in the Truth and Reconciliation. You say, oh, I've been here before. And then you essentially have to jump down a hole, and you're not quite sure if you're supposed to or not, but you end up jumping down a hole into the swamp, and this is where you have all sorts of fun fighting the Covenant and the Flood as they're fighting each other.
Also, before you drop down that hole, Cortana will say, imminent threat coming in before you drop down, and more Flood will spawn behind you until they eventually just kill you.
Yeah, it's infinite.
Oh, they will?
Yeah, myself and my friends used to try and hold that door, just see how long we could last. It was kind of fun, but
it's really tough. And also, if you're going for the kill all elites, which is one of the achievements, there are 2 elites right across the hole from you in the hangar.
Yeah, you have
that
to
are
kill
just
those.
hanging out that you have to kill.
Jeez.
And you don't have any long range weapons at that point, so I was just lobbing grenades, but I gave up on that achievement pretty fast because I was like, it's gonna take way too long for today.
You can get lucky if you get a plasma pistol, which I think you start with, and you knock out a shield and get him with a lucky grenade or something. You can manage it.
At the same time, if you knock down the shields and one of the Flood kills them, you don't get that. It doesn't count.
Oh, really?
Oh, I never realized that.
Yeah.
That Flood snipes your kill.
That would make me angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that just this mission?
Yeah.
It's not the whole.
Yeah, it's okay. On heroic or legendary. Kill all elites.
Oh, okay. Yeah, heroic would be rough.
Yeah, it's this level's so tough on higher difficulties. Even heroic is a big problem because a lot of the Flood spawns are infinite.
Yeah, this mission in particular has a lot of infinite Flood spawns. I had a couple tough spots just on normal too, so this is no easy. This isn't. I mean, maybe we can rank them at some point, like the most difficult missions, but this is definitely up there in the game.
Also, another thing to say is the par time, because I've been paying more attention to par time and par scores on CE. It's 15 minutes for this mission.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty ridiculous. It's
but you can do that. God. I feel like if you can just
if you put it on easy,
right?
and
knock that to
just
easy and skip all the fights.
Everything. Yeah,
you can do it.
Yeah, you can run through quite a bit of this. But in the swamp is where you get to see the Flood and Covenant fighting again, which is always fun. I'm trying to think you should easily be able to find a shotgun because the Flood have the shotguns and assault rifle. I did assault rifle shotgun combo pretty much the whole time. What'd you guys go with this time?
I picked up the sniper and the shotgun.
Oh, okay. So you can only grab the sniper right when you see the hunters, right? Is that the first spot you see it, or can you?
Yeah, it's right before you get to the hunters.
Okay. So it's kind of a mess to navigate down through. I'm not going to talk you through it, but you kind of make your way throughout the swamp there. You end up kind of going up a rise, a ramp, and then you do get to a point where you find a sniper, and then you're overlooking essentially an infinite spawn of carrier forms as they just go and attack the hunters.
It's so annoying because the carrier forms literally act like grenades.
Yes, right. Do you guys sit there and watch them kill the hunters and then sprint forward, or do you just?
No, I always try and snipe the hunters, drop the rifle, and then run down with a shotgun, lob a bunch of grenades.
Okay.
I'm generally trying to push through that as opposed to because I don't think it gets any easier if you just sit and wait, but.
No, because that's also a tough area because it's infinite spawn with those, then the next area is another infinite spawn with the same carrier forms.
Mm-hmm. And then you still got the combat forms coming at you, and then all the little infection. It's just it's a lot. It's easy to get overwhelmed.
It gets easy
because you're kind of going against the flow, against the grain, right? Everybody's headed towards you as you're trying to get past them, to the waypoint so you get to the grav lift.
Yeah, it starts getting quote unquote easy once you get to the grav lift. That's when most of the infinite spawns stop. They're not as much in the ship as they are under the ship.
Yeah. The other thing, Cortana does chime in and essentially say the Flood are trying to get off the installation. Actually, both factions are trying to get off, but she doesn't really explain. And I guess we don't know what the Covenant are trying to do. They're probably just
trying to get rid of the Flood.
But do they don't realize that it's as big of a threat, I don't think. They're just trying to
they do,
kill them and
because
escape, aren't
she
they?
says towards the beginning that the Covenant are terrified that the Flood will get off the ring on one of their ships. So once the Flood were released, they evacuated all their ships, except for the Truth and Reconciliation. And then the Flood are sending in a strikes team to neutralize the Flood and retake the ship.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Which
right.
is what those black elites are that you see later in the level.
Yes.
Those are like the elite strike team.
Okay. I was curious
There's
if I was
also-
just going colorblind or if those were actually different colors to Color Covenant.
There's also like a really cool story around what happens with this ship afterwards, but like that's all in the book The Flood, but I don't need to talk about it, but it's pretty cool in terms of like what else goes down. Like humanity is like also a faction involved in the fight for truth and reconciliation, so it's got a cool dynamic of what those guys do and ultimately what happens to that ship.
Yeah, I guess we've talked about the Flood book a little bit here and there, and it is essentially a walkthrough of the game, but it does, to your point, David, it adds some good lore along the way, some additional depth.
There's also some interesting perspectives because you get to actually like Chief's reaction to everything. So if you ever wonder like, what his first reaction to the Flood is, what the first reaction to the Ring is, what the first reaction to Keys is, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we get to the grav lift, and that's when I think the infinite spawns stop right around there. There's essentially some elites and I think a couple grunts that are defending the grav lift right there. Yeah. And so you get to clean them up, and then I think you have to clear the area first, and then you can go up the grav lift.
You don't. You can actually. You have to stay in the grav lift for a certain period of time.
Okay.
And it'll suck
But as
you
long
up.
as you're in there, yeah.
Yeah. So like you can get like as you run up, you'll see Chief get sucked up, but enemies will still be fighting on the ground around you and stuff like that. You can still see them. And if like carrier forms are on you, your blood will still like pump out as you move up. It's kind of cool.
That is cool. Yeah, so then we're back. We're back on the Truth and Reconciliation for the third time, I guess, now. And this one is a little bit more familiar because you're able to actually progress to your ultimate goal of finding keys. And you get to, let's see here, we get to the big room that had the Wraith and a couple ghosts just kind of sitting there, parked.
That's just a hangar.
The hangar, yeah. Yeah, so you actually go up in the same loading dock, right, that we were in originally? It felt like the same loading dock.
Honestly, if you remember the layout from the first level, it hasn't changed at all. Like, even your path to the control room and everything, it's all the same.
Okay, well, and that makes sense. That's good that they did that. I think they've probably maybe blown some things up or closed some doors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few things like that are a little bit different.
Yeah, the direct path is the same. But one of the interesting things that Cortana says in that that loading bay, or the what did you say it was, David?
Hangar.
With the Wraith, the hangar. Yeah, with the hangar. No, the hangar's further up, I think. I'm talking about there's like a parked Wraith and some other stuff. Anyway, big room with some stuff down below. Cortana pops on and says that the Flood are gathering bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Which you don't really... I mean, it's just kind of a passing comment, but that will play into what we're going to experience here in a little bit, that they're essentially kind of collecting all of everybody that they've killed.
And you know what?
Into the mass.
If you've read Halo Evolutions and you've read the short story Mona Lisa, it literally parallels the experience you see in this level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting to compare the two, because the Flood is basically doing the same thing. They have this goal, so they keep, doing this until they reach their goal, basically. Right.
Yes. Yeah, and we'll talk more about that. We're alluding to it a lot, but we'll talk more about that once we get to the terminal and stuff. So we fight through essentially the same path. Again, we talked about how this is pretty rough. Like, it's not easy. A lot of infinite spawns from the Flood, and I died quite a few times just trying to decide, okay, do I clear this area out or do I sprint through? And then I would try both tactics. They wouldn't work, and I would just kind of have to optimize what I'm doing. Like, okay, I got to take all these guys out, then I can sprint. And then, it's just a lot. It's easy to get overwhelmed. And it's hard too, because this is if you're playing on legendary or heroic, like there's only one more mission after this. I just gotta get through this mission, right? And so you're almost to the end, and it can get a little bit frustrating if you reach a kind of sticking point on this one. All right, so what else do we want to talk about? Do we want to go all the way up to keys now, or
there's not much else to say because it's just fighting Flood and stuff. The really interesting part comes in when you find keys.
Well, I did find one thing that just a comment here. It's fun to get lots of multi kills in this mission. It's hard, but if you lob the right grenade or if you reach a bunch of carrier forms and do the right thing, you kind of get the metal light that light up on the side of your screen, which is always fun. Is there a max on that? Do you guys know? Is there like a 10 kill max for the medals? Or
Kilimanjaro, I think, is the highest, isn't it? Or am I wrong?
That sounds right, but I'm not sure what the actual count is.
Yeah,
it might be different on sale. Well, actually, CE might have had one the anniversary, but I wonder if that's all overhauled for MCC.
Or is it Killionaire?
Ooh, maybe. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah,
you chat away, guys.
Check it out. All right, we'll talk about the keys. So keys is in the control room. So you've been there before. You make it to the control room, and you can actually. So you enter in on the one side. The terminal is on the other side. The kind of the base of the kind of the control. I don't know, the control area. But then you do see keys in there, and this big giant mass of Flood. Do you want
and other people?
Yeah, so you can go up to it, you can see it. It doesn't give you a ton of time because then there's a cutscene.
Yes, sorry guys, you're right, Krista. It's Killionaire. So it goes just for the sake of arguing for conversation. It goes double kill, triple kill, overkill, kill-tacular, killtrocity, Kilimanjaro, which is still my favorite, kill-tastrophe, kill apocalypse, and then Killionaire.
Yep.
Does it say what amount?
Plus one of each ethereal. So if you start with double, triple, overkill
okay.
is 4, kill is 5, atrocity is 6, Manjaro is 7, atrocity is 8, apocalypse is 9, so Killionaire is 10. So I guess 10 is the highest.
There you go. We solved it.
I think it goes unstoppable, or is that a different
No,
one?
that's for killing streaks. Kill streaks for multiplayer and stuff. And the top one of that is unfriggin' believable. So
Okay.
I always like that one.
So that's kill streaks for other Spartans that you're killing, right?
Yeah, that's basically multiplayer.
Okay.
I know they do have kill streaks in game, but I don't think it scales the same way as it does in multiplayer.
Okay, I never really kept track of that.
All right, so who's our Flood expert? Is it you, Krista? Do you want to talk about what's going on here with?
I could talk about what's going on.
The proto potential Gravemind.
The proto Gravemind. So we don't. At this point in the thing, we don't know what the Gravemind is. So simply, the Gravemind is the hive mind, the controller of all the Flood. The Flood work as a hive mind that every time they kill someone or they inhabit the body, like take over their body, they gain whatever knowledge that individual had, and it all goes into the collective. So that's why they know how to, that's why they kind of know tactics, they know how to use weapons, they know how to repair ships, stuff like that. So the importance of the Gravemind is to kind of
coordinate all that information.
Yeah, it's even more coordinated because the Flood themselves know the knowledge, but the Gravemind is kind of he's the strategic mind behind everything. And once the Gravemind is formed and is active, the Flood have even more direction than what they do before. Because a regular Flood is, consume, fight, and then, spread. Is what the basis.
Is there anything specific around keys? Is he kind of what they're building around?
So
is it kind of like an honor because he's so awesome?
It's
no.
because they designated him as a VIP, basically a very important person who had a lot of knowledge of Earth, a lot of knowledge of, the UNSC in general and the human colonies because of his service record.
Mm-hmm. So
but if you look at the sack, there are also other faces and body parts in it as well. So this sack, they just kind of keep, like with all those bodies they have, they just keep throwing the bodies into this sack and it becomes more and more and more until it finally emerges as a sentient Gravemind.
This giant.
So, good thing to know, we never knew any of this in Halo CE.
No.
Or even the term proto-Gravemind, which is a sub-genre of Gravemind before Gravemind, that's only like in the last year or so that we even got that term. And then that was what Keys was. So like even at the stage that they were at, they weren't as half as intelligent as they get in future games.
Right.
Which we see in the next game, which is going to be very interesting to talk about.
I can't wait. Oh, that's going to be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically they're working to create their leader is basically what it is. And like David said, at the time we were just like, this looks like a mushy blob.
Yeah, the significance of it wasn't really known to us at the time.
Another thing to note is if you follow one of the tentacles, it has Keys' pipe at the end of it. And if you look at it, you get an achievement. So
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. I've been paying attention to achievements, so now.
The achievement too, it's called the no smoking achievement, and the text on it, which is I think is great. It says disapprovingly look at Captain Keys' pipe. Why are you smoking?
It's making you judge it.
That's right. So the mushy blob essentially is Keys, and you just need to punch him in the face and take out his neural implant and get the code, and then you just kind of wipe it off and then plug it into your own head, which I thought was there any risk of maybe being taken over by the flood by that? But
no, it's because his Mjolnir armor neutralizes all flood stuff on contact.
Of course,
because of the shielding. It's explained in the book, but
you gotta explain things away.
Yeah, I mean, that was what the book was for, is to kind of just put the game in a more of a certain direction to open up to the other Halo games.
Yeah. Very true. And then if you turn around and look at him, he has zero face. It's just a hole where his face was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal afterwards.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
As a kid, holy shit, Floody Keys scared the shit out of me as a kid, because I was playing this when I was like 5 or 6. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, nightmares.
Yeah,
not good. So we have what we need now. R.I.P. Captain Keys, and then we take off and we go back to the shuttle bay. And along the way, that's where I first noticed the gray elites. Does that sound right to you guys? Where you start, or they're black, whatever.
That's when you start seeing them, and they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're pretty tough.
They're spec ops elites, essentially in this game, anyway.
Are they? Where do they rank in terms of difficulty? So it's like blue.
They're at the top.
Game,
they're above gold.
Yeah, they're above gold. These guys are tough. Okay.
They have the highest shields
in the game. Yeah. In the game, yeah.
Yikes.
In CE.
Like, I was carrying around a shotgun, and it took 2 shotgun blasts just to get through the shields. So 3 in total. Yeah. Or at least, maybe I just wasn't aiming very well. I don't know.
No, that sounds about right.
I believe in your aim, Krista.
Why, thank you.
So we then essentially, if you get you kind of pop out the top of the loading bay, and you can wind around through the corridors, or you can just jump down.
Yeah, I think everyone just jumps down, right? Yeah, right. Like, I jumped down so fast that the Banshees haven't even landed yet.
Yeah.
And
you got it. The higher difficulties, you got it.
Do you get fall damage in this? I'm forgetting. I think you get.
So if you go to the second level, like that big plateau kind of thing on the second level, you won't get fall damage. So you go the third, the second, and then the first. You drop down.
Essentially, you just hijack one of those Banshees. The gray elites pop out. The Spec Ops elites, and you hop out, and then hop in and take off. And
then you GTFO.
That's right. Get out of that horror film that was Key's mission.
Yeah. Awful.
Yeah.
No joke at all. All right. So, I don't know. I feel like we pretty much covered it. We could kind of go into more detail, but we're kind of at the point where we kind of know we definitely know what we're doing now. All the factions are in play. All the weapons are in play. I guess the addition of the Spec Ops elites is kind of the last little thing here. And then, then we gotta do the last thing in the next episode.
The final thing, the Maw.
Mm-hmm. I had to look up what the Maw was. The Maw is not a very common term, at least wasn't when I played. Now I know what the maw is.
So just interesting kind of tidbit on this mission in general. The scenario of Keys is almost identical to that of the level Sorry, Don't Make It So from Marathon 2, another Bungie game. Yeah. So both the levels require the protagonist to fight their way through a captured, heavily damaged alien ship upon a heated battle between two opposing forces, being the Flood against the Covenant and Keys, and the 4 against the UESC level from Marathon. So I found that kind of interesting that they just did the same thing again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was like, but Halo was like, they took all their ideas from what is it, like Oni and Marathon, and just refined everything. Because I've never played those games, those early games. That was way before me.
It sounds like a nightmare.
They're too early.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, a lot of the concepts are similar. Like the hunters are, I think, I read somewhere that the hunters kind of came from a concept from Marathon as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Though I've never played the game, so I can't say that for certain, but...
Yeah, there's a lot of Marathon throughout the whole Bungie Halo series.
Bungie evolves. That's what they do.
Evolves.
And they've evolved to Destiny.
Destiny. Maybe devolves to Destiny.
Oh, Krista Brown.
I do like...
Harsh.
I like Destiny, but there's some parts that it's like...
All right, let's not bash Destiny. Let's talk about some Terminal, and then we'll do some community stuff, and we will get out of here. Krista.
Yes.
What is going on in this Terminal?
Oh my good golly gosh. I mean, the thing about this Terminal is the impact of it isn't really a lore impact. It's more of an emotional impact, right?
Oh, it's so emotional.
Yeah, it's just, Keyes repeating his name over and over again, the Gravemind, like his life flashing before his eyes. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that he had this much will against the Flood. A lot of people don't get to this point. Like, he could even remember, like, even him remembering his name is such a big feat on his part. And I mean, like, the Flood take away everything that is you. That's what they do. Like, even as it opens, I forgot something, I forgot my name, and then he starts feeling the pain, and then he starts remembering memories, and then they all start getting taken away when the Proto-Gravemind is talking to him. So, I mean, he's trying to hold on to what little of himself he can. And of course he thinks of Miranda, his daughter. Mm-hmm. And also, I think I saw, like, Sexy Halsey.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that Sexy Halsey?
I'm pretty sure that's Sexy Halsey. It's the woman in the pink dress, right? Like pink lingerie.
Right.
Because Halsey used to be blonde before she went gray. There's actually, I think there's 2 instances of Halsey. I think it's Sexy Halsey, and I think you see them shake hands.
Okay.
Towards the end of it. He shakes hands with a woman that I think is Halsey. But it's like heavily, heavily, heavily implying Keyes and Halsey's relationship at that point.
Well, we talked about Halsey's journal in the last game, in the last series. And
right,
so a lot of that is
you're all caught up, then you know that, like, Captain Keyes and Halsey had a child named Miranda.
They had a love
Miranda
child.
Keyes.
A love child who pretty much Captain Keyes raised as much as you can as a captain, and she was raised on Luna.
And Halsey was emotionally detached from the situation. Well, she wasn't emotionally, but she was detached from the situation. She was busy doing other Spartan stuff.
Yeah.
From
the situation.
Halsey's pretty emotionally detached in general.
That's just her character, and I feel like she couldn't have done the stuff she did if she was emotionally attached, right? We're getting way into crazy lore stuff, but I mean...
Yeah.
Anywho.
I still love her.
But man, when that Proto-Gravemind starts talking, it's like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
It just says, forget everything. This is the first time we've really seen, like, other than some of the books, this is the first time we've seen someone really struggle against the Flood and kind of what happens in their minds and what they're thinking and, just the struggle in general. But
well, in the game, this is the only example I think we have.
Yes.
Because everything else is in the books.
Yeah. So I guess in game, this is. So,
how does it end again? Does he say like you're no more, or what?
No,
what his last line is?
it's you won't have me, and then it's like da da dun. We already do, and then
That's
it
right.
fades out, and then it's like bone chilling, and you want to cry.
Oh,
It's just so sad. And I mean, like throughout the game, you don't really have the chance to connect with Keys, but if you're into the extended lore like we are, you are emotionally connected to Keys. You've seen him do a lot more stuff than what he does in. I mean, he's like, I'll say this over and over again. He's Princess Peach in this game. He's like he's in another castle. We have to go find him again.
Mm-hmm.
But with the extended lore and, you know, just knowing who Keys is and what he's done and who he's connected to, it becomes even more of an emotional, like, almost emotional tax you have to pay to watch this cutscene. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have died like this. You were a badass.
And you have to remember, too, that we didn't get this stuff in the first game. In the original game.
No. You didn't get any of this backstory. It was just, you know, punched him in the face and left. That was it.
Yeah, it adds a lot of weight.
It does. Impact. Well, it really makes you see what people go through when they become the Flood. It's not, I mean, if you have enough will, it's not instantaneous. It's a slow grind to nothingness.
Right. Yeah, it's not even madness. It's just kind of nothingness and conformity.
Yeah. I mean, your mind just gets absorbed into this collection of minds, and you're not anything anymore.
Yeah, really. Big
body's genetic code gets rewritten, and it's painful, man. It's not pretty.
No, the Flood are definitely the most terrifying, but the most important, like, faction in the Halo universe. Mm-hmm. And that's all explained away in the Forerunner trilogy. So if you want to know more about that and something called the Precursors, we're not going to go into that now, but it's a lot of stuff.
No.
All right. We bored everybody to death.
Yep.
Let's talk about some community stuff. I posted, let's see, we always post on Twitter and Facebook. Just, you know, we got the pipe to deal with now. Like, Keys has had this pipe they showed at the very beginning. You can find it here at the end. It's talked about here and there in the lore. What's he smoking in that pipe?
Technically, he's not smoking anything. He just likes to have it in his mouth for a comfort.
Yeah,
he just chews on it. So that's canon?
It's a corn pipe? Is canon. Is that right?
It was like his grandfather's
it's a real pipe
or something?
Yeah, it's a real pipe, but like there's no tobacco anymore.
Yeah.
At least I got the impression there isn't really tobacco in Halo's
That's
universe.
a cool thing, though.
Sergeant Johnson has cigars.
Oh, that's right.
The Sweet Williams.
Mm-hmm. And he listens to heavy metal, which is great.
Can we forget this part of our past?
So what did we say? So did Amy say anything on Twitter? Did we have any fun responses?
No, we don't have anything on Twitter this week.
Wah, wah.
Twitter fail.
What about Facebook? I think we had a couple on Facebook.
Yeah, we got a few on Facebook. So Riley says canonically nothing, but it's not a fun answer. So thanks, Riley. But I like your correct answer. I appreciate it. Krista, I'm ignoring. Matt, no, I want to ignore Krista. Krista says some dank herbs. She's from dank places. Matt Yulan says I was going to leave Reach, but then I got high.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
That's good.
So we got Ian goes, so many flood spores. That's too soon, Ian. Too soon. I'm gonna butcher this name, but I'm gonna Schwenk Shulka.
Yes.
It's a Spartan herb. So that's sweet Spartan herb. And then we got an L, as you can imagine. There's a GIF or two in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
GIFs are not audio friendly, so we won't try.
No. I don't know.
Is that it?
That's it, man.
That's it.
All right, we did it. We've made it through 9 missions.
Oh my gosh, we're almost done with CEA.
We are there. Right at the end.
Season 2.
That'll do it for a debriefing of Keys.
Season 2 finale coming up.
That's right. Halo Combat Evolved. On the next episode, we will be concluding with the Maw. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. Until next time, evolved.
Evolved.
Okay.
That dank flood herb, man. Super dank.